Guys, it's Friday night again. Welcome back to the man cave. It's been another interesting week around here. Uh, we're going to kick off our Friday night just like we always do. We're going to have a drink. So if you are having a drink with me tonight, or if you're joining in, leave me a comment here and let me know where you're from. Tonight, I'm going to crack open the Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select once again. I'm still working my way through this bottle. I'm not in any real hurry to finish it off. This is a really smooth Tennessee whiskey. It's quite expensive. I probably won't ever buy it again, but cheers. It's Friday night. Darren, glad you could be with us here tonight. And we've got Golf Griller. That's Russ. And we've got Ernie from Pittsburgh. Jonathan from Indiana. We've got Greg from up in Hersheytown. Oslo. That's way up north. Thomas, welcome. I think we had you last week, if I remember correctly. Glad you could make it back. And Denmark. Ronnie from Denmark. Nice. I'm glad the Europeans are still up. I don't guess it's that late over there. Next week, it'll change up a little bit. I don't know how your time changes in Europe, but we go on daylight savings time here this weekend, which means we're pushing our clocks forward an hour. But maybe right now we're on a 5-hour lag with the Scandinavian countries. And we might be on a 4-hour lag next week, but I'm not sure how that goes. Eric, welcome. Greencastle, Pennsylvania. Got a nice crowd joining in here tonight. So let's start off with a sip of this whiskey. Good stuff. Not much better way to kick off the weekend than a nice glass of whiskey. Tanya's with us tonight again. Let me bring Tanya up. Hey, Tanya.
Hey.
Tanya's my technical support staff, for all you who weren't aware of that. She's also my wife, and she keeps things running. She makes things work. And I see she's got on a set of headphones tonight. I need to get some. I went back and looked at those Bose headphones again that you had showed me, Tanya. I read something about them that makes me want them even more, because I can put those on and have that little mic boom going, and there's a button I can press where it will allow my voice to play through the headphones. I can't do that with these, or these earbuds that I have. If I can do that, I'm unaware of it, and that's the only reason I don't like wearing headphones, is because I don't like listening to myself talk with headphones on. So other than that, I see you've got company.
This is my, yes, this is, usually this is my assistant Per Fester, but tonight she is my assistant techie. This is
All
Lily.
Right. That's one of our 3 felines that live here. So yeah, we're kicking off with a drink. I was hoping to be able to show you guys some pictures of the Kettle Joe this week, but I kind of thought mine would be here by now, but it isn't. So on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page, I posted a link to a video that James Mack from Smokin' Dad Barbecue posted yesterday of an unboxing and putting together on the Kettle Joe. So if you want to get some better images of what that grill looks like, go watch that video, because he did a real good job in that video of showing you this ceramic firebox assembly. In my mind, I'm really hoping that design finds its way into the ceramic grills on the next version of the Kamado Joe. The pedals for the firebox rest inside of a metal basket, and you can just set those in there and then pick it up, take it out, set it in. It takes all the hassle out of putting the firebox together. I know those of you who have the new firebox design in your Kamado Joes, it's challenging until you get the hang of it. It's not so bad after you've done it a few times, but to somebody who hasn't done that a few times, that firebox is a real pain to put in, and you really need three hands, unless you use the paper towel technique, which I think I've done that in a video somewhere also, where you wad up a little piece of paper towel, stuff it in behind the pedals, and then the ring will just set on there, and you just leave the paper towels. They'll either burn or they won't, or they'll be in there when you take it out the next time. So, Tanya, what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight, I am drinking coffee as usual, but it's called Hope of Uganda. And it's really good. It's grown in the mountains near sandalwood trees. And it's got this really nice floral kind of, I don't know, to me, it just has this real classic, what coffee should taste like. So it's first time trying it. It's going to go on the list of definitely rebuy.
Oh, I just got another comment that I'm going to have to post up there. Greg noticed our video's working. My eyes are burning again. Sorry about that, guys. I went to the eye doctor last week, and I've got a new prescription. I've just got to go get some new glasses, and I think that'll help. But yes, our video problem is solved. I'm extremely happy that we just switched to a different streaming service, and all of our problems went away. So I'm totally stoked about that. Everything's working extremely well now. So today I pulled another one of these stunts where I got up early this morning and drove down to Atlanta Grill Company. The Big Alpha pizza oven that I have, I let go of that oven this week, and I went down to Atlanta Grill Company and I bought the let me bring my picture up here. I bought the Alpha 1, and this is a picture I stole right off of Alpha's website because it's a really nice picture. And this comes off of Alpha's website also. It's got some of the specs. The only spec that I'm really interested in on this one's the cooking deck size. This is roughly 24. The cooking deck itself inside the oven's roughly 24 inches wide left to right and 16 inches deep. So that's about how big this oven is. And I also bought the matching stand that goes with it. I thought long and hard about that. I thought about maybe putting it on some other sort of table, but then the more I think about it, and Tanya will back me up on this, it's the really right stuff on this particular oven. I think this stand is perfect. It's made for it. I can stack wood underneath it, and we'll just have a look. I hauled it home in the back of my car, which with the stand in there, I couldn't see out the back window of my car all the way home. But here's the oven. I got it put together this afternoon, and yesterday I spent a bunch of time taking the firewood that I had set aside that I use in the Alpha 4 pizza, and I cut those splits in half and split them down even further to make the right size wood splits here to use in the 4 pizza. I haven't fired this up yet, but I may fire it up. I don't know if I'm going to try to fire it up tonight. I'm probably going to fire it up tomorrow and just run it up to temperature and look at how it goes. This thing's going to run. This oven's going to suit me a lot better than the big 4 pizza. The 4 pizza was too big for me, and it took up a lot of space on my deck. This one is better suited for what I do size-wise, and I can have it off the deck where I can make room for other stuff that I need to have on the deck. So I got that put together, and I also bought. I showed you this pizza peel that I had. Uh, I bought the turning peel. I bought the matching GI metal turning peel today to use with this oven. Uh, this pizza peel, I may or may not continue that one. That one is that pizza peel may be slightly large for this pizza oven. I may have to look at another option. I think GI Metal makes a round peel that may be a little smaller than this one, and if they do, I'm probably going to change out and get a different pizza peel. But I'm a big fan of these GI Metal peels. These are the right peels to have, and you just need to make sure that you have the right size. This peel would be perfect in any of the other alphas, and it's the right size also for the four pizza, and that's why I bought this one. But this one may be a little large. The opening on the front of the Alpha 1 is about 16 to 17 inches wide, and this peel's 14 inches wide, so it's kind of tight. I might look for a peel that's in the 12-inch range, because most of the pizzas that I will cook in this oven are going to be 11, 12-inch pizzas, and we'll see how that goes. So that's where I landed today with that. I ran down there. It's another one of these whirlwind trips, but I had talked to Gary on the phone either Wednesday or Thursday. I don't remember which day it was. I talked to him. I told him I'd like to come down and get that, and he said, "Come on." So I went down, and I was there for less than an hour today. I rolled in there about 9:30, and I was back on the road home by 10:30. My trip time down there is 4 hours, not including any stops. And I wanted to get home in time today to get that unloaded and get it put together. And I was fearing that we were going to get some rain this afternoon, which didn't come. And so I was able to get all that done and get it all put together. So everything looked good there. The other thing, one of the things I wanted to talk to the guys at Atlanta Grill Company about is the live streaming. I want to do some live streaming through the Atlanta Grill Company page, and I wanted to make sure that was okay with them. So they're fine with that. By the way, we're gonna do some live streaming through the Atlanta Grill Company Facebook page and YouTube channel, and my intentions there is to get some of their vendors on with me and talk about some of the products that they sell. So there will be some opportunities. And I think I saw Scott Love in here earlier. Scott, if you're still here, I'm going to be hitting you up for some help with this. I want to bring some people on live from some of the companies that make the products that are selling at AGC. And I know you might be a resource for me on that. Some of the stuff, like, we might even be able to talk about that Jura coffee maker at some point. I don't know how many people in my audience are coffee fans. I'm sure there are plenty, because we got lots of whiskey fans and beer fans and coffee fans, and that Jura would be something to be fun to demo live or talk about it anyway. So that's something I'd like to do. I'd like to talk about, there's a whole slew of people that I could get on potentially, if they're willing to do it, and have a conversation with about the products that they're selling at Atlanta Grill Company. And like I said, Scott is still with us. So Scott, I'm going to talk to you. Scott, if you get an opportunity, shoot me a PM with your phone number. I think I may have lost the card that you gave me. It may be in my file, but just in case, send me your phone number where I can talk. I can talk to you. Yeah, Tanya will talk about it. Tanya got the full tour of the Jura last time she went to Atlanta Grill Company with me, and yeah.
Incidentally, I've not been on any of the Atlanta Grill Company trips since.
Well, it's not because you haven't been invited. Some people got other things to do that are more important than going to Atlanta Grill Company. I don't know who those people are, but one of them lives here. So,
Well, it's not because Atlanta Grill Company is not awesome and
okay.
that I don't enjoy going, because I do. But I work.
Okay, but that's what we're going to do. We're gonna talk to some vendors. Uh, we're going to talk. You know, I don't know who all I can get. I know I can get somebody from Kamado Joe. Obviously, uh, I might be able to see about getting somebody from Napoleon to talk about the gas grills. Atlanta Grill Company put out a blast today, and I think there was. I haven't looked at it, but I was told that there was going to be some information. Napoleon's got a new line of grills called the Phantom series, and if you haven't seen these, go look. After I got my Napoleon, I said I'm never going to be jealous of another gas grill, but now I am because this thing's flat black. It's awesome. It's an awesome looking grill. It's just really impressive, and that's one of the next things I wanted to show you here tonight. Is I got my gas grill out this week and cleaned it up. The video that I published today was cooked on. I cooked on the Napoleon gas grill. We did the gluten-free pizza project, and I did both stages of the cook on my Napoleon Prestige Pro 550 or 500, and it's a two-stage cook. You par bake the crust for about 45 minutes at 325, and then you ramp it up to 500 to cook the pizza for about 10 minutes when it's done. But this grill, I haven't used it any during the winter, and I've had the cover on it. But this thing, it gets dirty, and this stainless steel surface is really kind of a challenge. Well, I won't say it's a challenge to keep looking nice. It was a challenge for me because I didn't have the right stuff. And I went to Walmart and picked up this stuff, got this little spray bottle of stainless steel cleaner and polish for $4. And other people also said if you got Pledge furniture polish, it works just as well. And its Pledge is slightly more expensive than this, but just spray it on and wipe it in with a rag and just buff it off real good. And this stainless steel grill looked brand new. Uh, I'm going to be doing some additional cooking, some more stuff's going to be going on this grill all summer long for video content because Atlanta Grill Company can now ship that grill. It's not something that you just have to buy in their showroom. And also down there today, I picked this guy up. This is the rotisserie basket, and I didn't have this already, but I'm going to use it to do probably do some wings or something on the Napoleon. This device right here is already very well known in the Kamado Joe community because everybody buys this to use on the rotisserie, and they cook their wings and whatnot, and veggies, potatoes, whatever, in that basket. They rotate it over the fire with the rotisserie, but believe it or not, guys, that thing was designed to work on this gas grill. that's why it's made. But they sell hundreds of these things and just sell them constantly. Kamado Joe's got a basket coming out. I don't know when. I've seen pictures of it many times. I'm not sure when that's going to drop. I should have asked about that today, but I didn't. Wasn't thinking much about it. And so the gas grill, one of the other things I wanted to bring up about that gas grill, those of you that were with me several weeks back when I was talking about using two Kamado Joes, my two classics here, I've got one set up that I cook meat on, and I use the South American style hardwood lump charcoal in that one, and I use my other one for stuff that I want to clean cook, and I use charcoal like the Rockwood or the Royal Oak that's a really clean burning. I don't have any grease residue over there in that other Kamado Joe, but the gas grill, if you want to do a clean cook where you don't want to add any off flavors of any kind to your cook, the gas grill is a perfect solution for that. If you want to cook a loaf of bread, you want to cook a cake, you want to cook a pie or something that you don't want to put any kind of smoke flavor on, the gas grill is another perfect solution. It is important to keep your gasser maintained, because if your burner tubes aren't clean, and if you've got a problem there, you can introduce an off flavor and an off aroma from the gas not burning properly. So you got to keep it maintained. And I found out this week I do have quite a few folks in my audience that do cook on gas grills, and I started a gas grill page on Facebook last year. It's been a little slow getting it off the ground, but if you're interested in a group on Facebook that's dealing specifically with gas grill cooking, I created a group called Gastronomy. I should have put a banner out here so I could show you that link. I'll have that out next week. But if you search for Gastronomy, excellence in gas grilling, you'll find that page on Facebook. And I've got quite a few people in there that cook fairly regularly, but it's not a very large group. There's not a lot of people there, but I think over time it's gonna grow some more. So, but once again, don't hate me for cooking on a gas grill. Don't hate me for cooking on other grills. I like cooking. I like the variety of grills I've got here. And keep in mind that the grill is the tool you're using. It's like the pan you cook in on the stovetop. It's not making or breaking the cook. It's just a preference or a choice. But anything I cook on the gas grill, you can also cook on the Kamado or your Weber kettle or your pellet grill. That's just the tool you're using to apply the heat to the food. So I like having the variety. So we're going to mix things up. I'm going to get some extra content out this summer on that gas grill. Back to talking about, let's see. Let me go back here. We're going to have a look. This is that gluten-free pizza that I made this week. The first one I made, Tanya and I told you it didn't taste good at all. Tanya, unfortunately, didn't get to taste this one because I did it early in the day instead of late, and she was working. But this is the America's Test Kitchen recipe and technique. I used the technique last time, but I didn't use their recipe. I used their recipe for their homemade gluten-free flour because it looked pretty good in their video. It looked more like a real pizza dough, but when I made it, it still looked like the other one. It's kind of a grayish brown. It doesn't look like a real pizza crust, but I've made this one taste better. I modified their recipe. I substituted extra virgin olive oil for the vegetable oil, which brought some flavor. I also added some garlic powder, some onion powder, and some Italian herb blend directly to the dough, and that did improve the flavor. The crust actually had some flavor this time instead of being just a flavorless, crunchy sponge. So it was better in that aspect. I'm not so sure that this would be something I would do frequently or I would do again. I don't have a requirement for gluten-free food, and Tanya doesn't either, but I get asked so frequently to do this that I wanted to present something that I thought was better than average. And from what I've seen so far, this is the best one I've seen. Now, there is one other one that I may or may not do a video on. The Caputo gluten-free flour from Italy. I've seen some pizzas done with that, and those pizzas do look like a real pizza. The crust looks phenomenal. There's some resistance in certain factions of the gluten-free community to that flour because that flour has a product in it called wheat starch. And simply because it has the term wheat in it, people are afraid of it. There is no evidence that there is any kind of material that contains any gluten in this flour or the parts per million of gluten is well below whatever it has to be to call it gluten free. So it's one of those things where if I do it, if I post it, I'm going to get hammered by the online food police that that's not gluten free. I actually did get beat up on when I posted the picture of that bag of flour, and I hadn't even cooked a pizza yet. So I may or may not do that. I may experiment with it uh, and see how it turns out because the Caputo gluten free needs a hotter cook. It wants to cook around 700 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'll either do that in the Alpha One that I just showed you, or I'll do it in the Rock Box where I can cook it hot. Without, I could do that on the Kamado Joe, but when I'm cooking hot, I like to cook on one of these pizza ovens that's designed specifically for that. So we may do gluten free again, and if we do, it'll be because I think it's better than this. It looked better. I got some pictures. There's this pizza making group I've been lurking in, and there's a guy in there that's made some gluten free pizzas with the Caputo flour that look like a real pizza. They actually, the cornicione on the outside, it puffs up just like a regular pizza. There's nothing puffy about this pizza. The leavening in this pizza is all done with, it's got yeast in it, but I don't really think you're getting much out of that. It's got baking powder in it to help leaven that also. But in terms, if I was gluten intolerant for any reason, I'd probably eat this and be happy with it. Uh, there's nothing else really wrong there that I can see, other than the fact that it's not a real pizza. So Tanya didn't like the first one we made. So Tanya likes pizza, and we've made a lot of pizza here. She likes some of the pizzas I make better than others. I really like the Detroit pizza, and I've never had any complaints from anybody on that. What do you think, other than the Detroit pizza, Tanya, is the best pizza we've made here at home?
Well, I absolutely love that one that you did with the focaccia crust.
Right.
That was phenomenal. I really liked it. I like your sourdough pizza crust really well.
Right.
So that was good. The grandma pie was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Trying to think. You know,
There's Avery Wood of Boston. This guy, I had you on my list of things to talk about tonight. Uh, I'm trying to get him on here with me, guys. Uh, I'm working on getting Avery Wood of Boston on live with me, and I'm hoping we can make that happen because this guy makes beautiful pizza. He he's master. I've had the privilege of watching him uh, learn to make pizza and become a real master at it. His pizzas, the pictures of his pizzas just make me jealous. And I've actually known him for quite a while online because he came around early on in the Kamado Guru website days when we were cooking on early Kamado ovens. And I've been talking with him. We're going to see if we can't get him online with us. He may be one of these guys that we do when we get going with Atlanta Grill Company because he also has several alpha ovens. So we might be able to put together a really great session where we talk to Avery here uh, pizza in general, and talk about the alpha ovens, and maybe we can get Mike Stone on or somebody from Alpha with us, and talk about these ovens and talk about the pizza. I noticed that Michael Stone from Alpha just finished up a 5-day Pizzaiolo certification course up. I think he was in Chicagoland area. I don't remember exactly, but I'm asking myself why he did that to begin with because he already makes great pizzas, but now I guess he's probably got a wealth of brand new knowledge on how to make even more awesome pizzas. If I can get both of those guys on with me, we're going to have a good time. We're really, really going to have an amazing time there. So, uh, the the next thing I wanted to talk about here is I was going to answer some of your questions. I asked for some topical ideas this week. Yeah, Luke is making fun of him. Avery's, yeah, he's from the Boston area, Boston. Yeah, I got a couple friends up that way. My friend Ben lives up that way, and yeah, they all talk funny. Man, every one of those people up there talk funny. Tanya, we went cruising through there on the way home from our honeymoon. We
We
took
did.
the eastern seaboard all the way down from Maine, and
We did.
we cruised. Yeah, we stopped at Frank Pepe Pizza in New Haven, Connecticut, and I really felt bad about that. We were there, we were late getting there, and they weren't that far away from closing time. And I wasn't real happy with the pizza I got. I was expecting something awesome, and I got a pizza, and I feel like whoever made my pizza didn't love their job, and those guys need to love their job working at that place. So, I ordered one of their clam pizzas that they're so famous for, and I had much higher hopes for it. I hope to go back sometime. I hope to visit that place again. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about it?
That's one of the things we always look for. As a matter of fact, the first vacation John and I ever took together was to Chicago. And he's like, well, exactly what are you proposing for this vacation? I'm like, we're going to go see King Tut and we're going to eat pizza.
Well, we did eat pizza. We went to Geno's East on that trip. The next time we went up, we didn't eat at Geno's. We ate at
Giordano's.
Giordano's. We need to go back because everybody's telling me now we'd have to do this Lou Malnati's.
Oh my God, let me tell you about it, John, because I have already done it.
I know, but I didn't get to because I wasn't on that trip.
That was some very awesome pizza.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it quite a lot.
I'm sure. And I wasn't on that trip, so I want to go back. But, there's always something fun to do in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, I love Chicago.
We'll go back. Maybe I can go up and do one of those pizza classes and learn.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Beth is with us tonight. Glad you could make it. Tom Cleveland. Here we go. Road trip. Yeah, that's a long haul from here, Tommy. That's what is it, 12 hours up there, Tanya?
I don't remember because I slept through Indiana.
Yeah. Well, the time we drove that first time we went up there, we did an overnight drive, and yeah, it was a long haul. So yeah, that was intriguing. But one of the things I was going to do tonight was answer some of your questions, and the first question I have here that I wanted to touch on was from Charles Baxter on the Man Cave Meals page. He said probe tenderness would be a good topic, and he says specifically with ribs. When do you run the risk of overshooting when a cook is already at probe tenderness and when the meat becomes dry? There's two separate questions going on here. I'm going to try to get both of them. First of all, probe tenderness. You can use a thermometer probe to test for probe tenderness. I, however, recommend not using this. Get a bamboo skewer. And the reason I want you to get a bamboo skewer is because I don't want you to look at the temperature of the meat. The temperature of the meat's not telling you anything about how tender it is. And this is going to come into play even more when we're going to talk about ribs, because ribs are the one that you'll mess up the most often when you're looking at the temperature. But probe tenderness is not something anybody can teach you until you feel it for yourself. And I learned this from Harry Sue when I went to Harry Sue's barbecue class out in California several years back. To get a feeling for what probe tender is, you need a fresh jar of peanut butter, and you stick that probe into that peanut butter jar. That's what probe tender feels like. It's going to feel that way in a pork butt. It's going to feel that way in brisket. It's a little harder to make it feel that way in ribs because ribs you don't have a big fat deep chunk of meat to slide it in. Uh, that's why we're going to talk about ribs specifically. But the pork butt, this probe is going to slide in there with little to no resistance. Uh, when I'm cooking a butt or a brisket, most of the time these days, I don't use a temperature probe. I just I the only temperature probe I use is the one I'm using to run my grill. So I cook in two stages. I bring it up. I cook until my bark until I'm happy with what my bark looks like. So it doesn't really matter what temperature I'm cooking at. If I'm going to cook overnight, I cook at 225. And once I get up the next morning, if my bark is good enough, I'll wrap it up in foil, run the temperature up to 300 and finish it. If I'm going to cook during the day, I'll put these on at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and have them done by 5, and I'll do the whole cooking around 300 degrees. But when my bark is set, I wrap it up in foil. And I just know from experience that once I wrap it in foil and I'm running at 300 degrees, that I'm going to be done in 1 to 2 hours from that point, just from experience. So what I do is after 1 hour, I check it for probe tenderness. If I'm not usually there at an hour. Occasionally I will be, but typically it's around an hour and a half. Sometimes it'll go as long as 2 hours, depending on what it is. But I use a bamboo skewer. I don't use the thermometer because it happens at different temperatures. I can have a pork butt probe tender at 190 degrees if I cook for 24 hours at 190 degrees. I've done a I haven't done this. I don't remember if I did this on the Atlanta Grill Company channel. I know I did it on Kamado Joe. I did a 24-hour pork butt where you cook it 190 degrees for 12 hours. You wrap it, cook it for another 190 degrees, and you've got perfect pulled pork. I've done the same thing with a brisket, and it never got above 190. The internal temperature of the meat never got above 190, but it doesn't have to because the extra time, got you to the probe tenderness without ever reaching that temperature. But there's a lot of options. Just you got to go with experience and being able to feel that probe tenderness. Now, talking about ribs, I think ribs get messed up most frequently because people look at temperature. They'll say, you know, 203, 202, 204, 205. That's when you need to pull it off. Ribs will almost always get to those temperatures well before they're tender. They take more time. The ribs are not huge, thick cuts of meat. So they'll get to temperature quicker and they will not have all of that. The collagen in there has not had the time required for it to gelatinize and render and become truly tender. So if you pull your ribs off as soon as they hit 200, 202, 203, or whatever arbitrary number you've chosen, chances are those ribs are going to be chewy. They might be tough. You've got to be able to feel that probe tenderness. I use a toothpick when I'm checking ribs. The bamboo skewers are a little large to use for ribs. I just use a toothpick. You can use the bend test. I'm not a big fan of the bend test, and what people are telling you about ribs is they're done when you can use a set of tongs, pick them up from the middle, and when you pick them up, they'll bend over almost double without falling apart. That's called the bend test. Uh, Most often when I try that, my ribs will fall apart and I'll have a mess. And but I'm not. I like fall apart ribs. If I have never in my life had somebody at my dinner table complain about ribs being too tender. The only people that are upset about ribs that fall off the bone are your competition cooks because they get dinged for that if they're too tender. But I'm not cooking competition ribs here at the man cave. We're cooking ribs to go on the dinner table. And, you know, don't listen to anything I say if you're going to cook competition because nothing I'm going to tell you is ever going to help you. Uh, competition ribs, competition's not my thing. Uh, I wouldn't eat competition. I wouldn't put competition grade meat on my dinner table because you can't eat very much of it. It'll make you, it'll be a flavor overload because of all the salt and other flavors they've pumped into those things because they only get one bite to impress the judges. But for your ribs, you, you got to use your eyes and your hands to know when ribs are done. Unfortunately, with barbecue, you, the thing I see over and over constantly, on social media is somebody. I can go post a picture. Like if I would go post a picture of some brisket, I'll get 80 comments on it, and 20 of them will be asking me time and temp. And how do you answer that question? Could I put 12 hours at 225 degrees? Well, Johnny goes and cooks his brisket for 12 hours at 225 degrees, and it's nowhere like mine. Now, why is that? No two cuts of the meat are ever the same, and you're going to get different results, even if you have two that are the same weight. You got to learn to feel it, and you got to learn to, use more than a clock and a thermometer to get this stuff done. But your ribs take experience. I've gotten my ribs down to a science. I know how long it's going to take me to cook them because I cook in foil, and I don't have any problem whatsoever if mine are too tender. I'm good with that. So I can tell you I'm going to cook a rack of baby back ribs. I'm going to pull them off 4.5 hours after I put them on. And my St. Louis cut pork spare ribs are coming off 5.5 hours after I put them on. And they're going to be perfect. They might not be fall off the bone. They might be fall off the bone, but either way, they're going to be good. They're going to be tender enough. So that's the third part of the answer to this question is experience. Do it. If your ribs weren't tender enough, it's more likely that you undercooked them than overcooked them. It's very likely, and I know brisket's the same way. A lot of people say my brisket's tough, and I pulled it off at 195. Well, they didn't cook it long enough. They don't often get ready at 195 unless you've done 24 hours at some incredibly low temperature. Good Lord. There's my sous chef up there with Tanya. He's hanging out upstairs. He hasn't been on camera with me in years. He doesn't come down here when I'm shooting video anymore.
He likes being in on the classroom setting, though.
Yeah. Well, so Charles, I hope if you're with us, I hope that answered that question. So, we have Brian. Brian's with us tonight, and Brian's in Raleigh. That's not far from here. We got a lot of North Carolina. There's a good number of North Carolina people hanging out on Man Cave Meals. So another question were you going to say something? Don't let me step on you there.
No, I was just laughing. Janice said hello, kitty. So yeah, they say hello back.
Yep. There's one that hadn't been on camera yet.
I think she's upstairs by the heater.
Okay. The next question I've got that I wanted to tackle tonight is from Dan Knoll. And he wants to know why mounting the thermometer to the dome is better than the grate. So those of you who know that I use my temperature controllers, my ambient grill probe has an alligator clip on the end, and I clip it to the stem of the dome thermometer inside the Kamado rather than putting it on the grate with the meat. And the reason I do this is not necessarily so I can make the dome and the the electronic probe read the same thing. Typically, they're fairly close, but they still may be 10 or 20 degrees off from each other, even though they're right next to each other. That's just the way it works. But when I'm cooking, I want my grills, I want my temperature reading to be consistent. Consistency is far more important than accuracy. Uh, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. The exact temperature that you're cooking at doesn't really matter. It just needs to be close. There's three cooking temperatures. There's low, medium, and high. And if I'm cooking in the oven or on the grill, low is going to be 250. Medium is going to be 350. High is going to be 450. And if I'm plus or minus 30 degrees from any of those, I'm good. Everything's going to be fine. The accuracy of that temperature is irrelevant, and it's not going to have a big effect on the outcome of my cook. If you're cooking down at 225 and you are somehow 20 degrees low on that, you're still going to cook. It just may take that Boston butt 24 hours to finish instead of the 14 or 15 that you'd like it to finish in. So I want consistent. And the reason it's not consistent if you put it on the grate is because there's several things happening at grate level with the airflow inside the grill, especially a Kamado grill. On a Kamado grill, you've got a heat deflector, a round heat deflector underneath your meat, and the hot air is coming up around the outer edge of that heat deflector. If your ambient probe is out near the edge of the grill, it's going to read hotter because it's closer to that hotter air that's coming up. If your ambient probe is too close to the meat, it's going to read cooler than it should because it's going to experience the cooling effect from being close to the meat. Let's say, for instance, you're cooking at 350 and your dome thermometer is reading 350. If you could clip an ambient probe onto the grate about an inch or a half an inch from a Boston butt, you won't likely see that temperature get over 250. It won't likely read over 250 because it's going to experience a cooling effect from being that close to the meat. If you come out 2 inches from it, it's still going to be a little cool, but it'll be closer. But it still probably won't be up near 300 unless you're out that close to the edge of the grate. If you've got a brisket sitting on there, or 2 or 3 racks of ribs, you don't have a lot of grill real estate that you can clip that probe to that's not going to be out close to the edge or too close to the meat for it to read accurately without being influenced by something that it's close to. The dome thermometer stem is a better relative position inside the grill than anywhere you can put a probe on the grate. It's going to be far enough away from the meat and far enough away from the heat deflector that your reading is going to be more consistent. And if it doesn't match what the dome thermometer says, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, all you need is high, medium, and low. 225, 237, 218, 242. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. This is cooking. It's not rocket science. It's not engineering. That's the bad thing about cooking. Scott, here's a good comment. Let's look at this. This is the argument that comes up against my philosophy here all the time. Hang on, we're still working on this glass of whiskey. I hope everybody else is enjoying some with me tonight. Scott, are you having a drink with me tonight? So, what temperature is food experiencing? Well, the part out near the edge is experiencing a hotter temperature than the part in the very middle. you've got some convection going on there. Uh, you got all kinds of airflow going on in that grill. So what is that meat experiencing? You tell me, because I don't know much about thermodynamics. These guys from Distora that developed the iCommand can tell you everything you ever want to know about thermodynamics and convection currents. But the meat, we don't know what the meat's experiencing. But what I do know, in answer to your question, Scott, I don't know what the meat's experiencing, and does it matter? I don't know that it does. What I know is that if I'm cooking and I've got my thermometer clipped to the dome thermometer stem, uh, and I've got it set at a certain temperature, that's just a reference. There's nothing scientific. There's nothing that's going to make a difference if the actual temperature at any given point at the grate level is different than what it is up there at the dome. It's the difference is going to be insignificant, and the difference is not going to affect the outcome of my cook. If I've got my temperature controller set to run my grill at 350 degrees, if it's at 380 at one point on the grate, if it's at 270 at some other point on the grate, doesn't really matter. We've got air moving in there, and we're cooking with convection in this environment. We're not cooking with radiant heat, direct heat, and we're not cooking with conduction. We're all cooking with convection. So what really matters in that environment is what is the average temperature from any point within that environment. Uh, and I feel like I'm getting a better representation of that average temperature up there at the dome because there's a lot less there that's going to uh, interfere with my temperature or my setting. I hope I've answered that. And for another thing, I'm not trying to get anybody to change the way you cook. You don't have to. My answer to that is whatever's working for you, stick with it. But when people ask me why I think this is best, I just try to explain why I do it the way I do it. Uh, there's 50 different ways to do this, and everybody's got their preference. So as long as it's working for you, then you should keep doing that. Uh, Tanya, when was the last time you put a digital temperature probe inside an oven when you were cooking something?
Never.
So how do you know what the temperature is inside your oven?
To be honest with you, I don't officially know. I know what the oven tells me the temperature is.
Okay. So that's how you tell if you want to cook something at 400 degrees, uh, you set the oven for 400, and when it tells you it's preheated, you're ready to go, right?
Right.
Okay. At what point where in the oven is it measuring that temperature?
Well, see, I don't know. I have no idea whatsoever.
Okay.
I just trust that it's right.
And, where would you expect it to be warmer, high in the oven or warmer, low in the oven? Guys, first of all, I'm asking Tanya these questions because I know Tanya doesn't understand exactly what we're talking about here in terms of dynamics, but Tanya cooks all the time, and Tanya cooks things at different temperatures in her oven. And the point I'm trying to get at here is she doesn't know what the exact temperature is at any particular point in her oven, but everything she cooks always comes out right. Have you ever cooked anything that you think uh, the temperature in your oven wasn't where it was supposed to be?
No, I've never considered that. But I also usually use convection when I'm baking as well. So I've got good airflow.
That's even better because the Kamado grill, which I know most of the people in here are probably using that are in my audience, they're having the same that's a convection environment as well. It's a natural convection because of the shape of the Kamado. You've got air flowing up and around and creating these currents. So it's there's a lot of possibilities there, but it's all about the average temperature, and especially when you're cooking a big piece of meat. If you got a butt or a brisket on there that's anywhere from 8 to 18 or 20 pounds, the real temperature that matters is the average temperature over the duration of the cook. More so
And
than any,
besides, aren't you cooking it till it's done? I mean, that's how I bake cakes.
right?
I cook it till it's done.
Well, you do, but
I've got a
a cake
suggested time.
baking's a different ball game than barbecue because I can cook a brisket at 200 degrees or I can cook a brisket at 400 degrees. I've done all of the temperatures in between. Your pound cake is not ever going to cook at 250 degrees. It's got to be at a certain level for the baking, for the
Right.
chemistry to make that cut
But
work.
you cook it till it's done. Like
Yeah.
John had a birthday this past week. I made him a sun-drop pound cake. Now the recipe says to cook it for like an hour and 15 minutes. This thing was done in an hour. I did the cake tester, and it was good to go. I didn't let it go for another 15 minutes, and I would imagine that you're probably doing the same thing on the Kamado grill.
Well, here's what I think. The electronics are nice. These guys right here, this is cracked for the barbecue cook. This is my Fireboard Pro. This is an amazing tool. But one of the things I also believe is these amazing tools can cause as many problems as they help solve because you put that probe in there, you put that ambient probe in your grill, and it doesn't match what's on your dome thermometer. And this is something I see happen every day too. As little Johnny gets his Kamado grill, and then he gets one of these, puts it in there, and sets it for 300 degrees. This thing's reading 300 degrees, and his dome temperature's reading 240. So immediately, what happens? What do you think happens when that comes up? Little Johnny pulls his dome thermometer off and thinks it needs calibrating because this is a computer. This is expensive. That's a $20 bimetallic thermometer on the grill. It can't be as good as this. So we have to fix that. And it turns out when you take that bimetallic thermometer off and check it in boiling water, it's probably right near where it's supposed to be. But once again, those analog bimetallic thermometers, they don't register temperature anywhere nearly as quickly as these probes do. So there's a lot to go on. But like I said, Scott, I hope I answered your question. I know I didn't answer your question. I probably just muddied the water even worse. But that's how I feel about it. I don't feel that a specific temperature matters one way or the other. You just need to be in the range you want to be in, which is low, medium, or high. You're going to cook in one of those ranges. Barbecue meat, you can cook in any of those ranges you choose to cook in. You just have to know what to expect. If I'm going to cook a pork butt at 400 degrees, I got to be careful about what rub I put on it because a rub that's got a good bit of sugar in it's going to make a mess at 400 degrees. If I'm going to cook a chicken at 250 degrees, I have to make sure I'm not producing any smoke or I'm going to have one of the worst tasting chickens I've ever cooked because chicken absorbs smoke like a sponge. There's workarounds for everything when it comes to meats, proteins.
John,
yeah.
I hate to do this, but I have to say bye to everybody because it's time to jump around.
So the Tar Heels are getting ready to play basketball. So Tanya, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Yeah, Tanya's the world's biggest UNC Tar Heels fans, and they're getting ready to play in a semifinal round in the ACC tournament. They've got a game tonight against Florida State. It's going to be a tough game. So, Yeah, I enjoy having Tanya on here with me. She helps me a lot. But that's how I feel about temperatures and where you measure your temperature from. And in a nutshell, the main reason I don't go from the grates because I'm not going to have a consistent result based on what I'm cooking or what temperature I'm cooking at. I'm going to be consistent always from that point. The third question that I have on here that I wanted to answer tonight. Now I'm running long. I'm going to try to make this one. I could do a whole session on this one. Kevin O'Connell says rubs, store-bought versus homemade. What's better? What's cheaper? And what are the longevity of the spices? So let's go back here to my pictures. And I was down at Atlanta Grill Company today, so I knew I had this question coming up. This is one of the rub aisles at Atlanta Grill Company. Now, does that not just make you want to go crazy? Look at all those rubs. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers of rubs all the way down that aisle. Well, you think that's a lot of rubs? Well, if you shift the view just to the right a little bit from here, oh man, there is another 8 layers of rubs all the way down that aisle. That entire aisle at Atlanta Grill Company is nothing but rubs, both sides of the aisle, 8 layers high. Guys, about every rub you can imagine that's worth having is available here. I mean, it's crazy at what's available in the world of barbecue rubs. So I took those pictures because I knew I was going to talk about this tonight. So the question at hand is store-bought versus homemade. What's better? Okay. Well, better that's just like asking me which tastes better, salt or pepper. If something's better, it's in the eye of the beholder. When I first got into barbecue, I was making my own rubs. I did some looking around. The rub industry then, and this I'm talking about just 10 years ago, 9 years ago. The rub business 9 years ago is nothing like it is today. These things, some of the rubs that I remember being available when I was first getting into it, there was Plowboys, there was this rub called Yardbird, and there was this other rub that was real popular, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but it had something cherry in it. If you guys remember what that is, let me know. And Gary Kendall here says that looks like some John Henry. Gary, I think Atlanta Grill Company has every variety of John Henry there on that aisle. Almost half of that aisle is John Henry. There's tons of it, and I have never tried a John Henry rub. Maybe I need to look at some of these, but the question is, which is better? I don't know the answer to that. There are some commercial rubs that I really like, but I really like my homemade rubs too. And I'm in a unique position here because 3 of my homemade rubs are available commercially through Atlanta Grill Company. I should have taken a picture of those tonight. The Man Cave Meals Mojo series that they have at Atlanta Grill Company, there's 3 of them. These are my personal rub recipes. I've got the AP Mojo, which is a salt, pepper, garlic blend. It's got some additional stuff in it to bring some real umami to this. It's got a little mustard powder. It's got a little Worcestershire powder. It's got a little MSG. It's got a little cayenne on top of the salt, pepper, garlic blend. My pork mojo is based on the AP mojo, and then it's got some brown sugar, some paprika, some cinnamon, some nutmeg, some really good stuff in it. The beef mojo is also based on the AP mojo, but it's got some coffee and some cayenne pepper and some other things in it that bring really good. So those are my recipes. And when I started my affiliation with Atlanta Grill Company, I said, "Are you guys interested in expanding your rub line?" And they said, "What do you got?" And I said, "Well," I said, "I've got my rub recipes, and I'll be more than happy to give you these rub recipes if you would like to co-brand them with me. I'm not making any money on these rubs, and I got no problem with that. But my Man Cave Meals logo is on the bottle, so I can pimp my own rubs, and that's what I like to do. Those are the rubs I use. And let's see, this is the Atlanta Grill Company Man Cave Meals Beef Mojo. I don't know if I'm too close to get that to focus there. And I've got the all-purpose Mojo. I don't have the AP and the pork Mojo rubs close by here to show you, but those are my recipes. And before I started selling those or letting Atlanta Grill Company market that, those are what I was making at home. So a homemade rub can be really good if you make it something you like. Now, I highly recommend everybody try making a homemade rub. And there's a couple of things you need to know about making a homemade rub. Is most of these rubs that are out here on the market have the same basic ingredients in them, but they differ. They're all different because they've got small amounts of what I call specialty seasonings in them that make them unique. So the primary ingredient that's in most barbecue rubs is salt, or it should be. There are some that are low salt. If I had my way, all barbecue rubs would be salt free. And the reason I believe that all barbecue rubs should be salt free is I want to be able to control the amount of salt that's going on my meat. I would rather salt my meat in advance and then add, the rub to it later. But now I just put the whole rub on it in advance. I like to let the salt have plenty of time to work its way deep into the meat before I cook it. So in reality, if I could have any commercial rub I want without salt in it, that's be the one I'd buy. But if you started buying commercial rubs that had no salt in them, the price on them is going to go way up higher than it is now because salt's cheap compared to everything else that goes in a barbecue rub. The other primary ingredient you'll find in barbecue rubs besides salt is paprika. Most of them have paprika, and most of them have garlic. Salt, paprika, garlic, brown sugar or white sugar or some form of sugar. Salt, paprika, garlic, and sugar are the basis of all good barbecue rubs. And what I need to do, I guess, is put together a post at some point and just give you a base to start from, because you want the right amount of salt, but you don't want to go too heavy. And nothing I like worse or nothing I like less than oversalted meat, except for undersalted meat. You just kind of have to know where you need to be. And so a good starting point. Let me just give you some numbers here. If I was going to start making a brand new basic barbecue rub, I would probably do, let's say, one part garlic powder. I like to use granulated garlic, by the way, rather than garlic powder. 1 part granulated garlic, 2 parts paprika, 2 parts sugar, and 4 parts salt. That'd be a good starting point. 1 part garlic powder, 1 part garlic, 2 parts paprika, 2 parts sugar, 4 parts salt. I'd be good with that. And the paprika, is going to bring the red color to it, and it's going to give it some smokiness. So you just have to experiment with it. That's the reason the rub market is where it is. That's why that bottle of rub I just showed you is $13. That bottle of Man Cave Meals Beef Mojo is a $13 bottle of rub. When you start looking at the ingredients you need to make the rubs, it seems expensive, but when you realize that some of them go a really long way, it's not that expensive. That I don't know what it costs Atlanta Grill Company to make that bottle of rub, but it's the company that's making those rubs for Atlanta Grill Company is probably got $1. They might not even that in terms of ingredient. The bottle that rub is in probably costs more than the ingredients that went in it. The rubs are a big profit center. They're very profitable, but I can't sit here and tell you that I recommend that you make your rubs instead of buy them. I do think you should try it. The problem with it is there's some fantastic rubs out there on the market. There are some amazingly good barbecue rubs out there. One of the things, Lane's Barbecue makes some fantastic stuff. Killer Hogs, Malcolm Reed, his one called The Barbecue Rub might be I can't really show favorites here. I don't have any vested interest in any of these companies. But that Malcolm Reed, The Barbecue Rub is good. He's also got one called the AP Rub that's a salt, pepper, garlic blend. And what I like about his is like mine in the fact that it's got MSG in it. I know MSG is a dirty word to a lot of people, but let me tell you something. That's umami, and that's one of the best and easiest ways to get that umami into your rub is with MSG. You got to be careful not to overdo it. It only takes a little tiny bit to get it there, but it's noticeable. It's a flavor that you can't get anywhere else. Meat Church makes some really good rubs. I really shouldn't talk about brand names here. I don't want to leave anybody out because I like a lot of them, but I've been doing it long enough. My answer to Dan's question is you can do homemade, but it takes a lot of trial and error to find what you like and to make something you like. The rub market, what they're selling you is something that you like. When you open the bottle, there's a couple of things that have to click for you to like a barbecue rub. You have to like the aroma of it when you open the bottle, and you have to like the taste of it when you stick your finger in it and put it on your tongue. Now, let me tell you something about that. Those two things are what you use to determine whether you're going to buy that rub. But those two things also get lost in the cook. They don't hold up in the cook. That aroma that you smell, like that cherry, if there's some cherry in there, that's not going to come through in the cook. It'll be gone in the cook. What comes through in the cook is the salt, the peppers that are in there, whether it's black pepper, cayenne pepper, chipotle pepper, habanero pepper, or whatever pepper's in there. The pepper's going to come through. If it's got coffee in it, like the Beef Mojo, that's going to come through. Some of the herbs that are being there. Somebody said they like thyme. Thyme's good. Rosemary is also good. There's a lot of herbs that can hold up in a rub better than others, but most of those things are going in there to appeal to your sense of smell and taste right out of the bottle. Most of that stuff's not going to hold up during the cook. You got to have the salt, the pepper, the garlic. That's why every time you see SPG, those people know what they're talking about. Those are the three things that are going to carry through in the cook. You're going to have that flavor when everything's said and done. So, guys, I've gone longer than I wanted to go. I thought I was going to have trouble going for an hour tonight, but I appreciate everybody coming with me. We're going to come back next week. Janice, here we go. She said, let me get one more right here. Janice says, yes, why is that? I feel tricked with the apple rub I bought. Janice, which one did you buy? Did you by any chance buy the Lane's barbecue? Their apple. I can't remember what it's called. The last time I took my wife to Atlanta Grill Company with me, I asked her if she wanted to pick up some stuff, and she came back to the counter with some of this stuff from Lane's Barbecue that was like an apple pie. But that's not a barbecue. That what she had is not a barbecue rub. It's something you actually use when you cook an apple pie. So I'm not sure, but yeah, if that's something you put on a pork butt, I can understand why that wouldn't show through. And it's hard to say. But anyway, guys, here we go. I forgot about the gadget. We're going to talk about a gadget this week. Okay, guess what? It's grilling season's coming. Did you guys know that grilling season is coming up soon? Grilling season starts on what? Memorial Day. That's like May 30th, right? That's when we're all going to start grilling again. Grilling season runs between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So May 30th to September 1st. That's grilling season, right? Does everybody agree with me? Okay. What do we always see in the news before grilling season starts? Who knows what the big news story that you're going to see popping up on social media, in the news, that it's going to start coming up around late April, the first part of May? Anybody know? Probably not. I'm going to tell you. It comes around every year. These same stories and same pictures get recycled every year. You can't use those wire grill brushes because the wires are going to pop off of them. They're going to stick to your grill. They're going to stick to your food, and then they're going to stick in your throat. And they're going to show you some x-ray pictures. Has everybody seen these? Everybody seen them all year round? Well, anyway, when I was at Atlanta Grill Company today, look what they've got now. The guys down at Atlanta Grill Company have their own branded wooden grill scraper. They've got several versions of this too. They've got one that's slightly simpler with it than this, and they've got one where you can change the end piece on it, where if you've got more than one type of grill, you can use this on several different types of grills. But what this is, I just got this today, so I haven't had time to set mine up. You have to, this has got a wedge shaped end on it here. And what you do is you heat your grill up, you get it nice and hot, and then you push this thing over it, and it'll form grooves here that match your grill. And then you can use this guy to scrape your grill clean. And it does a real good job of cleaning the grill, and you've got no way of leaving any metal wire grill debris behind. I don't know if this may have appeared in their email blast today. I don't know if it did or not. Like I said, I haven't looked at it, but these are available. So I'm guessing these are probably on the Atlanta Grill Company website, but I'll show you guys this again after I've had a chance to get it formed up here. I'm going to fix this up where it'll work on my Kamado Joes and use it as a grill scraper on there. So, all right. I've talked longer than I wanted to tonight. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me. We've had a good crowd here tonight. So until next week, this is John Setzler from the Man Cave.